So now let's talk about foot technique. So as I stated before, technique really important. You need to make sure you start with the correct technique when you start playing the drums. Okay, it's going to help the drums sound better, it's going to make you feel better, and it's also going to reduce the risk of any injury. Okay, so first of all, you want to make sure your pedals are in a nice comfortable position. Okay, so your seat wants to be fairly central in between the 2 feet. Okay, so you don't feel any kind of stretching or reaching with both feet. And also you want to make sure both feet are in line. Okay, so we haven't got kind of one much further forward than the other. Okay, so you want to feel really comfortable with the position of both feet. So you want to lay them flat on both pedals and just kind of feel comfortable. Make sure you feel nice and relaxed when they're in place. And also with the leg position, you want to make sure you've got a slightly bigger angle than 90 degrees in your leg. Okay, so if it's smaller than 90 degrees, you're sitting too low on the throne. And if it's much bigger than 90 degrees, you're sitting too high. Okay, so you want to make sure you're at good height. And also you want your feet slightly further forward than your knees. Okay, so this position is going to make using the pedals a lot easier. Okay, so that's what we want with technique, right? We want fluidity of motion. We want our body to work in harmony with the equipment. Now on the pedals, there's a natural pivot point, okay? Just like when we held the sticks, we found that natural pivot point of the stick that made it easier to use. We do the same with the pedals. Okay, now the natural pivot point of the pedals is about 2/3 of the way up the foot plate. Okay, now we want to play with the ball of the foot on this natural pivot point. Okay, so we have the top of the foot fairly near the top of the foot plate, but you want to make sure the ball of your foot is on that pivot point, okay, 2/3 of the way up the pedal. So we're going to start with the bass drum, okay, which is my right foot. So first of all, we're just going to take both of our feet off of both pedals. Okay, now there are 2 foot techniques. One is called heel down and one is called heel up. Okay, so we're going to start with heel down. So I want you to take your right foot and I want you to put it flat on the foot plate of the bass drum pedal. Okay, with the ball of your foot on that pivot point about 2/3 of the way up the pedal. So you don't want to be right up high, you don't want to be too far down. Okay, you want to find that point where the ball of your foot is 2/3 of the way up the pedal. Okay, now you're going to tweak that a little bit as we kind of play a bass drum note. Okay, so don't worry about finding that exact point, because obviously you don't know it until you've used the pedal. Okay, so just start roughly in that position. Right now, I just want you to relax. Okay, so you shouldn't feel any sort of down motion, you shouldn't feel any pushing down, and you shouldn't feel any pulling up with your foot. Your foot should feel nice and relaxed. Okay, so when it's relaxed, the weight of your foot will slightly depress the pedal a little bit, which will bring the beater closer to the head. Okay, so this is where the beater is with my foot off the pedal. Okay, then when I put my foot flat on the pedal with the heel down, it should just depress it slightly where the weight of my foot is just pushing down on the pedal. But like I say, you don't want any extra forward motion. Okay, downward motion with the foot. You don't want to be pressing down at all. You just want to feel nice and relaxed. Okay, so that's the starting position for heel down. Okay, then to play a heel down note, what we do is we lift the front of our foot, the top of the foot, so from the ball of the foot. So we lift here, and that will bring the beater back. Okay, so the top of the foot will leave the foot plate slightly, ever so slightly. Okay, you don't want to put it up too high. Okay, because you'll feel all this tension in your shin. You just want to lift it up to its maximum. Okay, so you can kind of have it slightly in contact, like with minimal contact. So as you feel your foot coming away from the pedal, you can stop there, okay, because you've reached the maximum point where the beat is the furthest point back. And then when you get to that point, you want to make sure your heel is still down. And then to play the note, you want to push down with the ball of your foot on that pivot point. That will push the beater forward towards the drum head. It'll make contact with the drum head to play the note. And then what you want to do in this position is relax, okay, just like we did when we played a stick stroke. And then let the beater return to its starting position by relaxing the foot. Okay, so the ball of the foot comes up again back to the starting position where the foot is flat on the pedal, but you're not feeling any tension. Okay, so that's the step-by-step process of playing a heel down note on the bass drum. So now in full speed, this is how we play the note. So flat on the pedal. Okay, so the motion is coming from the ankle. We're just moving the ankle joint to move the front of the foot, the top of the foot, up and down to play the note, okay? So letting the beater come away from the drum head is going to let the tone of the drum come out. So you're going to hear that full tone, and also it's going to let that foot and ankle relax, okay? So you don't want to be holding that tension. So some people keep the bass drum beater buried into the head, so they keep it here, right? But that's obviously not going to let the full tone of the drum come out, and also you're going to be holding a bit of physical tension in your foot. Okay, so ideally you want to let that foot relax to reset all the muscles, let them relax, and also to get a better sound from the bass drum, more kind of resonant full tone. Okay, so again, just go through that motion for heel down. So the stroke should feel nice and easy if you're on that pivot point. Okay, so you want to kind of experiment a little by moving your foot slightly up the foot plate and slightly down, okay, just to see if it feels any better. Okay, it's really important to find that kind of sweet spot on the pedal. And then to play a softer note, a quieter note, all we do is we start with a smaller starting angle with a beater, okay, just like we did with the drumstick. Okay, so for instance, this is the starting position, okay, for a heel down stroke with my foot just relaxed. And then instead of lifting the front of my foot up, the ball of my foot up like this, I can just leave it here and push from this position. Okay, so we got this. Okay, we can also start with the foot plate depressed slightly to bring the bass drum beater even closer to the head to play an even softer note. So I could start from here. So with the heel down technique, I've got a wide variety of dynamics I can use. Okay, so I can control that just by the starting angle of the beater. So now we're going to take a look at playing the bass drum with the heel up technique. Okay, so I want you to start with the foot flat on the foot plate of the bass drum pedal again, okay, making sure you're relaxed, okay, you're not pushing down at all, or you're not kind of leaning up, your foot's nice and relaxed. And then, as the name suggests, in this technique, the heel comes up, okay, so it comes off the foot plate. Now, playing heel up, what happens is the note comes from the hip, okay, so we lift the whole leg. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by lifting the leg, okay, from the hip, keeping the front of our foot on the pedal, okay. Then when you get to this maximum point where the foot's just about to leave the pedal, what you want to do is you want to push down with the leg. You want to stamp down, okay, with the ball of your foot on that pivot point again. And then as you push down, obviously the beater will make contact with the head. Okay, as it does, you relax, let the heel come down, back onto the foot plate, and you finish in that starting position again with your foot flat on the foot plate. Okay, so you don't keep your heel up the whole time. All you do is you bring your heel up to play the note. Okay, as soon as you played the note, you relax and let the heel come down. Okay, so you lift the whole leg, okay, from the hip, and you drive down to the ball of your foot again. Okay, so the ball of your foot's playing the note again, but it's being driven by the whole leg from the hip. Okay, so you're hinging from the hip. So to play a heel up note, okay, in full speed, we got this. Okay, so the front of your foot can leave the pedal again, but make sure it's only slightly. You want to kind of, you're lifting to find that maximum point. Okay, so you're lifting the front of your foot. As soon as you feel it sort of coming away, you know you've reached the maximum point. Okay, what I mean by the maximum point is the maximum point where the beat is going to come back. Okay, so the maximum angle of the beater. Okay, so as you lift your foot off the pedal, the beater comes back. As soon as your foot hits that maximum point, the beat has reached its maximum angle, and then you want to push down. Okay, so you don't want to be lifting your whole foot off of the pedal and stamping down. Okay, you want to keep that control. So you want to make sure the front of your foot is in contact with the pedal, okay, minimally, and like I said, it doesn't matter if it comes off ever so slightly, okay? So obviously you can feel when you play a heel up note on the bass drum, you've got far more power because you're using the whole leg for this note, okay? Now in terms of dynamics, obviously you can play a quieter note by not lifting as high and not letting the beater come as far back, okay? So a quieter, softer bass drum note of heel up, we've got this. Okay, so that's how we play a single note on the bass drum using the heel up technique. Okay, now if we wanted to play 2 notes in a row, which we call a double stroke, what we need to do is we need to incorporate a slight variation of this heel up technique. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to play 2 notes in a row. The first note is going to be played with the ball of the foot, just the ball of the foot, okay? And then the second note is going to be played with the whole leg. So we're going to start in the same way again with our foot flat on the foot plate of the pedal and we're nice and relaxed. Okay, then we're going to lift the leg again so the heel comes up but the front of the foot, the ball of the foot stays in contact with the pedal. And as we reach that maximum point, okay, where the front of the foot's just about to leave the pedal, we want to push down with the front of the foot only to play 1 note here, okay? And then we want to come back, so lift the leg again and then play with the whole leg, drive down, just like we did with the single stroke, okay, where we press down with the whole leg. As the beat makes contact, we relax and let the heel come down again. Okay, so we've got these 2 notes like this. So one with just the front of the foot with the heel still raised, okay, and then one with that whole leg where we finish with the foot flat. Okay, so you got. Okay, so we call the first stroke a foot stroke where we're playing just with the foot, and then the second stroke is the leg stroke where we're using that whole leg. Okay, which is obviously the same technique where we played the single stroke on the bass drum with the heel up. Okay, so we got foot, leg. So when we play the first note, we just use the foot. Okay, so you're pushing down with the foot. And then the second note, that whole leg driving down. Okay, foot, leg. Foot, leg. Foot, leg. Okay, so you just want to get used to this motion. Okay, so lift up, heel up, foot, leg. Making sure you're relaxed after you play that leg stroke. And you see how the beater's coming away from the head after both strokes. Okay, so as soon as I play that foot stroke, I'm lifting again. So I'm pushing down and lifting straight away. Okay, push down, lift. So you're reaching that maximum point, you push down just with the front of the foot, and then you come back to that maximum point, okay? The maximum point where you're just about to leave the foot plate off the pedal with the front of your foot, okay? So that's how you play the foot stroke. Okay, there, so you reach that maximum point, press down just with the ball of the foot, keeping the heel up, and let it return to that maximum point. And then when you reach that point, that's when you play the leg stroke, okay? So we got flat, come up. Okay, look at that bass drum beater. Okay, so watch that bass drum beater. It comes away from the head after the impacts both times. Okay, so you want to get used to that technique, and then what you can do is you can play it a bit faster. Okay, so this technique allows you to play 2 notes completely relaxed. Okay, so I'm not holding any tension after either of these notes. Okay, so make sure when you play it, you're feeling relaxed. Okay, and when you're relaxed, everything's going to be more fluid. Okay, we're going to be working in harmony with the pedal. Okay, you're going to feel better, which means your playing is going to sound better. Okay, that's the goal here. That's why technique is so vital. Okay, to good playing and a good sound, and also, like I said before, reducing the risk of injury. Okay, so if you hold tension, that's when you're going to start sort of getting problems with injuries and so forth. Okay, so that's playing a double stroke heel up. Now if we wanted to play a triple stroke on the bass drum with the heel up technique, which is 3 strokes in a row, what we'll do is we'll play the first 2 strokes as a foot stroke and then the third stroke as a leg stroke. Okay, so if we start with a foot flat on the foot plate of the pedal again, nice and relaxed. Okay, we lift the leg, keeping the ball of the foot in contact with the pedal. We reach that maximum point, we press down to play 1 foot stroke, another foot stroke, and then the leg stroke. Okay, so we got this. Okay, so again, you see that beater coming away from the head after each contact point. So I'm relaxed after each note. Okay, so again, important not to hold any tension. And again, as you get comfortable with the technique, you can speed that up. Okay, no tension at all, which allows my foot and bass drum to work in harmony. It feels really fluid and I feel like I can play with a lot of speed with that technique. Okay, so nice and slow to show you again. Okay, so the heel's up the whole time, except from after I play that leg stroke at the end, where the heel relaxes back down onto the foot plate of the pedal. So we use this technique to play any more than a single stroke in the heel up position. Okay, so if we wanted to play 4 notes in a row on the bass drum, we'd just play the first 3 as a foot stroke and then the final stroke as a leg stroke. Okay, so we got this. Okay, and again, you can speed it up. Okay, so that's the 2 techniques we use for playing the bass drum. We got heel down and heel up. Okay, so no technique is better or worse than the other, they're just different. They both have their pros and cons. Now, heel down gives us more dynamic control, okay? Because our whole foot is in contact with the foot plate of the pedal the whole time, it just gives us more control, okay? So we can choose to play a quiet note, a softer note, okay, by keeping the starting position of the beater nice and small, okay, to play a nice quiet stroke. Or we can lift right up, okay, for a big starting angle to play a louder stroke. Okay, we can push down faster to play a louder stroke, okay, so more acceleration means a greater force. Okay, or we can push down softer, which means less acceleration, smaller force, so we get a softer note. Okay, so we've got great dynamic control with heel down. Okay, now if we wanted to play a double stroke in heel down, okay, we just use the same technique for both strokes. To play a triple stroke, same technique for all 3 strokes. To play 4 strokes in a row, same technique. Okay, so again, we just let the beater come away from the head after each stroke. We relax after each stroke. And the heel up technique gives us more power and endurance. Okay, so because we're using the whole leg, we're using bigger muscles and we're also using more muscles, okay, which give us that more power and endurance. Okay, so both techniques have got their pros and their cons. Okay, so there's reasons to use both and you're going to use both. Okay, so you need to be comfortable using both techniques. Okay, so heel down gives us more dynamic control. It also gives us stability. Okay, so because we're only using our foot to play the stroke, we've got nice stability. Okay, so we're not moving our leg, which kind of moves our whole body. Okay, so we're just using our foot there, so you get good stability with heel down. Okay, but if you want more power and endurance, you can use the heel up technique. Okay, where we're going to be driving from the leg, getting more power. Okay, so you're going to use both.